Going live, or am I? That's weird. What's that say? Yes, okay, cool. That's never happened before. Unexpected occurrences. It's a worry. Don't like it when unexpected things happen. Although, keep life interesting. It's something that, you don't always know what's going to happen. It can be different, can be good, can be good. But apparently, live in my super reflective shirt, I don't think I've worn this on a live stream recently without a vest as well, because I wear this these days when I'm making a video for my cocktail channel. And I was actually doing that earlier today, hence this shirt is on. Musical Aviator, Locust Troop, Aussie Gun Bunny, how you all doing? Yeah. You know what happens if you make videos for your cocktail channel in the middle of the day? You get drunk in the middle of the day. Yeah. I only made 2 cocktails, but So yeah, I don't mean rolling drunk. I just mean like, I had 2 cocktails. Yes. And then I had to lie down for half an hour because I'm an old man and day drinking. No. I was almost tempted to do something with the cocktails apart from drink them, like make another batch milk clarified cocktail, but I just drank them. Music over. How's Trump's popularity going? With the lunatic base, super strong, like unbelievably wrong, like strong. Wrong. It's wrong that it's strong, but it is strong. With voters of the Republican Party, still overwhelmingly married to him. They're in lockstep with him. I'm sure there's some who aren't, but the overwhelming majority are. And with everyone else, the resistance is getting stronger to him. So, but yeah. Yes, I did. I didn't watch the video of Trump's walk to church. I read about it, and it was across the road from the White House, and of course, the White House was surrounded by protesters. So Trump had a peaceful crowd tear gassed so he could have a photo op. And apparently, the clergy at the church that he went to are not happy that he used their church as a prop because. This is the thing I care least about Trump because I am also not a believer. I am not a godly man. But Trump is clearly not a believer. Trump is clearly not a Christian. Trump is clearly not a godly person. He is clearly cynically exploiting the conservative Christian vote for himself, and they willingly go along with it because Trump is all about, hey, yeah, I'll give you power. Ooh, let's make it impossible to get an abortion. Ooh, let's pass really fucking horrible conservative laws. Trump will be their stooge, so they will be Trump's stooge. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. Those evangelical Christians, and I don't necessarily mean the followers, I mean the people who front the churches, the preachers, and the people who make all the money out of the churches, and the people who exploit it politically, they are so lucky that none of it's real. Sorry if I've done a There Is No Santa Claus to anyone, but yeah, no, none of it's real. None of it. Because if 1/10 of the Bible, and I'll just even stick to the New Testament, if 1/10 of the New Testament was true, every one of those evangelicals would be going straight to fucking hell. And it's not even a close decision. It's not like, oh, they might squeak in. No. They are absolutely flagrantly in complete opposition to what we are told are the teachings of Jesus Christ. They are absolutely 100% in opposition to that. So they're just lucky none of it's true, or they'd all go to hell. times like this, I wish I was religious, because then I could actually go, oh, they're going to hell. I'm so happy. Then I'd go to hell for being happy about it. So there was I don't know if anyone ever watched the TV show Inside the Actors Studio with James Lipton. James Lipton ran an acting school in, I think it was New York, called the Actors Studio. And over the years, like, I think the show ran for decades. This is one of those things where on the internet, I don't have to guess. I can look it up. Inside the Actors Studio. Okay, premiered in 1994 and ran for 22 seasons. James Lipton died not all that long ago, but basically, James Lipton interviewed famous actors. A lot of them, I don't know if a lot of them's accurate, but at least some of them I think were alumnus of the Actors Studios, and there would be acting students in the audience. And James Lipton would interview actors, talk about the craft and the actor's career and all that sort of thing. And then students would ask questions. And it's usually quite good. But he had these set questions he asked everyone. And one of them was along the lines of, if you died and met God, what would you say? And I know what I'd say. This is bullshit. Because if there was any sort of supreme being that bore any relationship to any supreme being from any religion of the millions of religions humans have had over the millennia, it would be complete bullshit that they didn't sort things out. Hey, Invisible Chicken. Oh yeah, that's right. The Trump's, when quoting a racist Southern governor, I believe, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, and everyone reported it for inciting violence. And Twitter, throwing shade at Trump, said, "Yes, this does violate the terms of service for inciting violence, but we believe it's in the public interest that it stay up." In other words, I think it's important to acknowledge that Trump is behaving in an abominable way. But yeah. So yeah, the Trump shit show is reaching its inevitable conclusion. Weirdly, like, people are going, "Oh, everything fucked up, like coronavirus and the riots." From a particular perspective, in fact, from a logical perspective, the things that Trump is fucking up are not his fault. He didn't cause them. He didn't cause the coronavirus. He didn't cause the cops to kill Floyd George. But did I just get that backwards? I think I did. But anyway, but he handled them and it continues to handle them in the worst way imaginable. Like, he is literally the worst. He is the worst. And I don't see any sign of anything getting better. I only see things getting worse. I'm just checking. Okay, I did chat with AIDzee today, and then we went radio silence. So he may or may not show up. He may have taken a sleeping pill. Invisible Chicken, you're free to disagree with me about the God thing. It is, after all, unprovable one way or the other. Yes, Aussie Gun Bunny. Stephen Fry had a few good lines about God. If there was an omnipotent, omnipresent being that allowed the things to happen. And I'm not even talking, okay, like Invisible Chicken, you brought up free will. I'm not even talking about free will, talking about disease that maims, tortures, and kills children painfully. The idea that a loving God would create a world where a completely innocent child has a life of pain, torture, and suffering until they die. That any supreme being that allowed something like that to happen is reprehensible garbage. I think it's true, but do I think America could get better? Not in the short term or the medium term. I think this is just going to be a spectacularly bad year. We're all having our focus taken by the absolutely justified protests around the US and the horrifically violent response of the cops to peaceful protesters. Don't forget, people are going to start dropping like fucking. I mean, there's already 1,500 people dying a day in the US from the coronavirus. That's going to fucking skyrocket. It's going to be fucking terrible. Yeah. Okay, we're putting it out there. Revolution, civil war in America. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, if you want a fun listen on the topic, there's a particularly good podcast by a guy called Robert Evans called It Could Happen Here. He is a journalist. He's done a lot of what's called conflict journalism, in that he's gone to war and conflict zones and he's seen how these things happen. And he's from Texas. He grew up in the South. And he's very intimately aware of, your militia types, your prepper types, and the people who think a civil war is inevitable and they actually want it because they want to overthrow the existing government. And these are not left-wing people. These are very right-wing people. So... yeah, it's a sobering and indeed slightly depressing series. Forget how many parts It Could Happen Here is. Might quickly be able to look it up. It's like podcast library. It Could Happen Here. See all episodes. 10 episodes. There you go. There are 10 episodes. So it's a little bit of a dedication of your time. But it's worth it. Aussie Gun Bunny watching the rights. You hear the song. Do you hear the people sing the songs of angry men? Yeah. So Invisible Chicken. Okay, you think bad things are almost an evolutionary thing. Bad things prevent societal stagnation. It's not completely without merit, in fact. It was an interesting thing that was explored in The Good Place, which is a very funny show. It's like, what's it, 5 seasons on Netflix? They actually finished it. They finished the story. But part of it is the idea of if there was, it explores a lot of philosophical ideas in both an informative and entertaining way. And one of the ideas was if there was an afterlife that was perfection, it would drive you fucking crazy. Like you would lose all sense of self because nothing would have any meaning. Which is a very interesting thing to think of. It's also just a fun show. It's definitely worth watching, The Good Place. Like a strip, do I think California will be a country? No, because the rest of the US can't afford it. California is a huge economy, and the US couldn't afford to lose it. So no one federally will allow California to split off. So it won't happen without some sort of cataclysm. No matter what people in the state of California says, the federal government would not allow secession because they can't afford to. And it would be very unpleasant. So it's not going to happen without cataclysmic events. Invisible chicken isn't what you want to believe, but you can see how it works. Oh, and you watched The Good Place as well. Yeah, cool. Like a stripper, I think you have summed up the world right there. We never know with this world. Yes, I mean, obviously, if someone asks me my opinion, I'm going to give my opinion, and I'm going to give my very reasoned logic as to why I have my opinion, and then I need to acknowledge I don't know a goddamn thing. Nobody knows anything. Ridiculous shit that nobody predicted keeps happening again and again and again and again. So anyone who thinks they can tell you unequivocally what's going to happen is full of shit. Because it isn't just that we've seen unlikely things happen. We've seen sure things fail repeatedly. Sure things that, no one rational would have bet on keep happening. So, yeah, no one knows. It's actually a book I read. Well, I had to read it when I was at uni. I was doing writing, creative writing and screenwriting. Book written by William Goldman, quite famous Hollywood screenwriter. Did scripts for films like Marathon Man and The Princess Bride, my personal favorite. He actually wrote lots of scripts, lots of really well-known scripts. He had a book called Adventures in the Screen Trade, where he tells a lot of very interesting stories about Hollywood and script writing and whatever. But his core theory for Hollywood, and it holds for the entire world, is nobody knows anything. He's just citing like the process by which movies are made, which movies are chosen to be made, which ones are neglected. Nobody knows anything. Like he basically says, like, okay, movie producers, the people who make the call that a movie's going to get made, they get script after script after script, hundreds of scripts. They have people employed as script readers who do like a first cut for them. The readers just throw out the ones that are just unintelligible garbage, and they come up with, the least bad ones that they think will work. And then someone higher up, vets them again and goes, and he says, like, for instance, it gets to the point where 20 scripts land on a producer's desk. They're the money person. They get to decide what gets made, what doesn't get made. And they can make 10 out of these 20. They're going to go through, these are people with decades of experience. They've seen what works. They've seen what fails. They know who's who, all this stuff. And they go through these 20 scripts. They put 10 on them on the reject pile, and they put 10 of them on the we're going to make these pile. And in the vast majority of cases, what happens with the 10 movies that get made, 4 will be complete failures. 3 will make their money back. 2 will be big hits, and 1 will be absolutely huge. One will cover all the losses of the ones that failed completely. And that's, with all their expertise, that's the hit rate. And he said the important thing to note is if they went to the reject pile and made them instead of the 10 they selected, the success rate would probably be exactly the same because nobody knows anything. Like strip hope World War III won't happen. We all hope that, mate. Well, actually, there's probably people who do wish it would happen now that I casually said we all hope it doesn't happen. What has Aussie Gun Bunny sent me on Book du Face? Stephen Wolfram. Okay. I know who that is. Man, this is like Facebook loads real slow on this laptop for some reason. Okay, let us try once more. Okay. Stephen Wolfram, who is a very smart person, if it's who I'm thinking of. Did the Wolfram anyway, he's a smart dude. Finally, we may have a path to the fundamental theory of physics, and it's beautiful. Oh, isn't that nice? Hey, Megalich, how you doing? Do I think we'll see World War III? I hope not, because that would be the thing that really fucking wipes out humanity. Because a war now would spiral out of control so quickly. So I'll see if I can summarize this. I never expected this. He says he's been working towards it for 50 years. Last few months, it's finally come together. It's much more wonderful and beautiful than I ever imagined. In many ways, it's the ultimate question in natural science. How does our universe work? Is there a fundamental theory? Yes, that's the thing. Ooh, that's a big read. I can't really do that now. But that's interesting because, okay, this Stephen Wolfram, super smart guy, and thinks he's found a unifying theory. So there you go. Kirsten, hello, hello. Whatever happened to Wolfram Alpha? Is that still a thing? I'm going to look that up. Wolfram Alpha. Computational intelligence. Enter what you want to calculate or know about. Compute expert-level answers using Wolfram's breakthrough algorithms, knowledge base, and AI technology, and it helps you with mathematics, science and technology, society and culture, everyday life. I used to play with Wolfram Alpha quite a bit, and it's been so long, I've kind of forgotten what it does. So if I just go milk clarified cocktails, my current fixation, what does Wolfram Alpha tell me about cocktails? Okay, it's given me dictionary definition of cocktails, narrower terms, base forms of cocktails. See, that's important if you're going to get into making cocktails, knowing the basic building blocks of cocktails. No, it's getting stupid. I'm going to stop doing that. Look, it's trippy. I'll stop talking next. Whoa, Jesus. Microphone just fucking attacked me. You don't really expect your microphone to attack you, and then one day just turns on you. Is Oprah Winfrey watching Heine? Maybe. Anyone could be. So Kirsten and I were just watching this. It's always just before I do this live stream, there's a live stream I watch on Facebook, the Oka Applewood Distilleries, and Henry, who's bloody hilarious. And they were doing it 3 days a week. This week is doing it every week. their version of Negroni Week, which if I look that up, everyone was ragging on it. It's a fundraiser. Negroni is cocktail traditionally with Campari, which I really fucking hate. Negroni Week has moved to the fall. Okay, so they use it as a fundraiser, saying last year they raised 790,000. September. Why is it in September? It's supposed to be now. Great. Okay. Whatever. So it's Homegrowny Week this week, which is a pun that I both love and hate, because again, the traditional Negroni ingredients are Italian. Campari, well, gin is everywhere, and vermouth, and everyone makes vermouths, but traditionally the Negroni is a very Italian drink. And what the people at Oka are doing with Homegrowny Week, which is homegrown, making Negronis with Australian cocktails. Now, I have the ingredients to make some cocktails, some homegrownies. I actually ordered the kit from Oka that's got their bitter Amaro, and a gin, which I guess is an applewood gin, and a vermouth, I suppose. But I have other ones. I have Oka Gold and a white Australian vermouth and a different Australian gin. So when I get the homegrowny kit, I'm going to do a homegrowny, an all Australian Negroni, and a white Negroni and a white homegrowny. Be really careful saying white Negroni. It sounds very questionable, basically. So, yeah, I'm going to make an applewood Negroni, which will have the Oka Amaro and their gin, and I think they're sending me a vermouth. I should check my mail. What's actually in the kit, because I ordered it just for fun. Funsies, having funsies, and it's nice to get presents in the mail. It feels special. Feels special to get something in the mail. Okay. Applewood. Dun, dun, dun. It's a nice catchphrase they have, because they use native ingredients, and they say it's from the land we belong to, which is neat. I like that as a marketing phrase, actually. The core pack. Where's Spirited? Your product's name. What? They do a navy gin and Oka, and where's the bloody store? Okay, cool. Applewood, Maros, the core pack. Where's the homegrowny pack? Okay, now I'm going. Are they still selling? I feel like I've taken crazy pills. Is that it? Trinity packs? No. Limited editions. Collaborations. Amaros. Okay, it's really weird. Maybe they're not promoting it anymore. But I'll find the thing that confirmed Oka Nation. Shipment in transit. Tracking. Parcels on its way. Meet Brendan, Laura, and Truffles. 1st of June. Shipping. Item processed to facility. So, okay. So Australia Post got my package yesterday. So God knows when I'm actually going to get it with Australia Post. Oka Amaro. The homegrown pack. Yes. I forget what's in it. And don't judge me because I bought something and then forgot what was in it. Because that's the thing I do. Okay, homegrown week. This pack contains Unico Yuzu Sweet Vermouth. Okay, cool. So I am getting a vermouth. I thought I was, and Okara and Bitter and Applewood Gin. So, I'm going to make one with that. That's a homegrown, and then I'm going to make a white Negroni, a white homegrown that will have Okar Gold and a Blanco vermouth, which is also Australian, and I'll use one of the Tiny Bear Distillery gins in that. So I'll have two different homegrownies. Rain, hello. Wow, Kirsten, you think it's actually sold out? They only advertised it the other day. Wow, okay. Oh, looks like I'm lucky I got in. Lucky I'm a man of action. So, I am going to do that. So I'll probably do it this week because Oka are also having a competition. You make a homegrowny and they and tag them on Instagram, and someone's going to win like a 750ml bottle. So I'm going to enter that. I might, again, going with my current obsession, a Negroni made with Oka Island Bitter, or whatever they called it. Yeah, Oka Island Bitter is going to be quite dark. I might do the old milk clarification that I am so obsessed with at the moment. That would be interesting because that would be like a trio of homegrownies then. A homegrowny, a white homegrowny, and a milk clarified homegrowny. That seems like a thing to do. So I might do that when I get the stuff, and might do the typical thing of make it on the live stream and edit it later. But we'll see. I've actually got a video that's probably finished rendering now. The one I made today, which is why I'm wearing this shirt. I made one for what's it called? Cognac Day, which I've an excuse to make particular things. The 4th is Cognac Day. So I'm going to get a video up a day or two before then, just in case someone's searching on that. And I made a Parlez-vous Guelga, which is, do you speak Irish? Half in French and half in Irish, because it's half French cognac and half Irish whiskey. In fact, I think I made that on Friday night on the live stream when we were in Big Man. Nice, dude. Locust Trip, make your own cocktail. The Locust Cock Special. It's all about making your own things. Yes, so that's what I was looking up, times. I've got to decide the optimum time to put the like. If I uploaded the video after this live stream, like I'm not going to abandon you and go off and do it. Everyone in Australia would be in bed. Very early morning in the US, where people aren't necessarily thinking about cocktails, and middle of the day in London. If I wait till tomorrow morning, might get the Americans in the evening. I don't know if anyone in America is thinking of sitting back and having a nice cocktail while all the crazy shit's happening. But Yeah, I have to decide on the optimum time to upload, and I haven't really decided that. I could do it just before going to bed, or I could do it in the morning. I have to decide between the two. You're going to be awake, Aussie Gun Buddy, okay? And hello, Safa and Feely and Sila. Nice to see. I was going to do. Nice to see you. Where are we? 35 minutes in and no AIDzee. I think he's gone to sleep because he was sending me voice messages today, and one of them was that he'd been to the doctor and got a sleeping pill. He hadn't had one for ages, so he might actually get some sleep. And he's going, I might take one now. And I said, well, that could be good because I don't think you'll sleep forever if you do that, but you might get some sleep, which would make you all nice and sprightly in the evening. Alternatively, it could have just knocked him out, which is why we're not hearing from him. But he might show up. Who knows? Rain, Horse Day should be a public holiday. Adam Ruins Everything said Horse founded the US. Most likely they played a critical role in other civilizations as well. Yes, and I celebrate Horse Day. Some of my best friends are Horse. Certainly a whole bunch of good friends are sex workers of one stripe or another. And I am a big believer in recognizing and respecting sex workers. I always find it funny with the people, the swerfs, who I want to ban sex, I want to ban prostitution and exploitation. I thought, well, good luck doing the thing that's literally never been accomplished anywhere in history. And the more you attempt to drive sex work underground, the more you endanger sex workers. You don't reduce the occurrence of sex work, you just make it more dangerous for sex workers. Swerves are shitheads. And every argument I've ever heard opposing sex work is like equally valid for any other work. The only difference is thinking, ew, it involves sex. It's like, saying, sex workers feel exploited. All workers feel exploited at some point. Some sex workers say they were forced into it and don't want to do it. Yep, there are lots of jobs in our world that, because of the nature of our capitalist society, people do not want to do the job, but they feel they're forced to because they need to have that income to survive. And yes, there are people who get into sex work because they feel trapped and they don't feel any other option for making money. And that sucks if someone's trapped like that. And that is absolutely a bad thing. But it's true of all works. You go, the pimps, the Johns are abusive and exploitative. Go, bosses generally are abusive and exploitative. It's like there's literally no argument I've ever heard against sex work that isn't equally as valid when you take the word sex out. It's just, work is exploitation. Pete, you heard me shitting on swerves. That's perfect timing. And just, and it's I'm not the fountain of truth. This is the other thing. The acronym SWERF, if you've never heard it, comes out of groups who self-identified as radical feminists. They believe that, what was taken to be mainstream feminism wasn't radical enough, wasn't really doing it. And they tend to say quite extreme things. And one thing, and as again, these groups self-identified, call themselves radfems, and they refused to engage with sex workers. They refused to give any agency to sex workers. They refused to acknowledge that sex workers had agency, and they exclude them from conversations about sex work. Now, if you are someone, particularly if you're a woman, you're a feminist who's opposed to sex work in all its forms, it's completely legitimate to exclude me from the conversation because I don't have a horse in the race. I am not a sex worker. So I don't have a say in it. And the aspects of exploitation which do exist, exploitation of women in particular, don't personally affect me, so I don't have a stake in it. But they exclude sex workers from the conversation. They deny that sex workers have any agency. They just say, oh, they're exploited and manipulated, and it's Stockholm syndrome. And it's like, no, fuck off. If you're going to have a conversation about sex work, you have to include sex workers. And because they're not a monolith, they don't all think the same thing. They don't all have the same attitudes. But the idea of you're discussing a line of work and trying to dictate the future of it, but actively excluding the people who are involved in the work is ridiculous. And that's what, and SWERF stands for Sex Worker Excluding Radical Feminists. And they think it's a slur, and it is, as in you're a shithead. But the idea of excluding the people who are doing the work is ridiculous. Yeah, exactly, Peter. If you don't think coal miners are selling, or it's not so much selling your body as in. I was trying to think of another way of putting it, but that's the simplest way of putting it, actually. And if the angles that SWERFs take about exploitation and abuse and whatnot, if you are not putting your as much effort into other industries that have at least as much abuse, and I'm thinking particularly about domestic workers around the world, factory workers, people who are definitely trapped, exploited, abused, sometimes literally held prison. In fact, it's reasonably common for them to literally be held prisoner. And if you're not putting an equal effort into that, it's not exploitation that's your problem, it's sex. So, as a ray in the service industry, the entire service industry, you don't have freedom, you don't have independence, and it's just, it's this ridiculous hypocrisy. Sorry, yes. Getting the police involved with the inherent violence that brings is certainly not positive. But again, and that's the dirty little secret of SWERFs. They want to punish the sex workers. They think the sex workers are bad and deserve to be punished because they're doing bad things. They are in conflict with what SWERFs see as feminist credo, and they think the sex workers actually deserve to be hurt, and they're fucking lying if they say they don't. Same as it's like when you get the extremist anti-abortionist crowd and people who are trying to say, well, just be rational. You can't stop abortion. It's a thing that's always happened in human history. All you can do is make it less safe. If you deny women the ability to safely acquire, abortion services, they'll still get them, but it'll just be more dangerous. More women will die. The dirty secret is the anti-abortion crowd want women who seek abortion to die. They think they're evil and they should be punished. Well-meaning, positive people trying to argue for women to have basic bodily autonomy, really simple rights, saying you can't stop it, you'll just make it unsafe. What the anti-abortion crowd almost never admit to is they're happy with that. They actually want women who seek abortions to die. And the SWERFs actually want unrepentant sex workers to be punished. They're just fucked. Yes, Peter. Agriculture, human trafficking, construction, Not so much in Australia, but it does happen in Australia. Construction around the world has a massive problem with human trafficking. Shipping has a massive problem with crews being held basically prisoners, and there's a really high death rate on the sailors on those container ships. You look at the factories all through Asia where people are basically at prisoner. Safa, au pairs are regularly exploited, even in nice, polite countries like Australia and the UK and America. They're often exploited. But you start looking into the stories that happen through Asia and the Middle East where au pairs, domestic workers, are kept as slaves with no rights, like their passports taken from them, they're not allowed contact with the outside world, and they are regularly abused. Worker exploitation's a real fucking thing, and it's not limited to sex work, and it's absolutely not the worst. The exploitation absolutely exists and needs to be stopped. And they often like to tie in child trafficking, which is, of course, a horrific crime and should always be punished really harshly because that's not sex work, that's child exploitation. So the same as when you find the kids in the factories and being exploited in other work, the people doing it should be punished extremely harshly. It's just an absolute furphy. These people to say, oh, you can't have sex work legal because of child exploitation. You go, no, child exploitation is completely illegal and should always be, and it's two separate issues. It's absolutely two separate issues. So, yeah. Suffer. The Liberals want to take more workers' rights away. Is it a day that ends in a Y? Yeah, this is the thing they ranted about, and be interesting to see what happens with Scummo's grand experiment to get the unions with the bosses to say, "Ooh, let's talk industrial relations form." When Scummo and his cronies, their idea of industrial relations reform is remove all worker protections, like no minimum wage, no overtime, no penalty rates. Fuck off the idea of paid holidays, fuck off the idea of any sort of job security, fuck off the idea of any sort of protections, safety for workers. Nah, it's going to be a shit show. Oh, that's an interesting one, Kirsten. Minerals, mining. It's interesting with things like mica that goes into makeup. And of course, this shit, all modern technology that uses rare earth minerals, a significant volume of the rare earth minerals that we rely on for modern technology is produced through outright slavery. And again, it's kids. They're kidnapped and they're digging these metals by hand. I mean, it's bad enough when it's a big mining conglomerate who's like ripping the side of a mountain off with huge machinery and explosives and whatnot. But a lot of it is coming from these small operations where it's kidnapped and or exploited kids digging down these tiny little tunnels by hand. It's absolutely fucking horrific. Yep, Zambia is saying we see cheap products, think child exploitation or worker exploitation. That actually happened in Australia a couple years ago. I think it was Target had the little school polos that public school kids wear these days, coloured polo shirts. And they'd have been like little kids' sizes, and they were like $3 a shirt, and people just went, "Oh, come the fuck on." You cannot sell them for that price unless there is absolutely horrific exploitation going on. Like someone's getting 5 cents for each garment they stitched together. And there was an actual backlash against them for selling things too cheaply, because people just went, no, this is exploitation. So thing I want to work out, how many slaves work for you? It's the thing you call up as your slavery footprint. Is another thing. endslaverynow.org. So find your slavery footprint. Find out how many slaves work for you. So it's basically saying, I think the idea is you answer a few questions and they work out based on their research, basically how many slaves have worked for you. So the way they explain it, what do you mean slaves work for me? As far back as humanity goes, people have bought, sold, and enslaved other peoples. So, we're pretty confident it doesn't happen anymore. So, but buying, selling, trafficking in human beings, if that's happening, it must be wildly different cultures, far from my influence. This was saying smartphone, t-shirt, computer, cup of coffee. Ugh. Oh, but they're reputable brands. If they had sweatshops, no, or they saying Oprah would be all over it. Yeah, but the brands don't know where their materials come from, and they make a point of not finding out. And from the rare metals in your smartphone to where your coffee beans come from, and chocolate. Chocolate is all about fucking slavery, and we don't like to admit it. Oh, nice. Kirsten, buy Australian booze. Show the worker bees are mostly spoilt hipsters who don't listen and can't count. I like that. Oh, dear. So people in the West are beneficiaries of colonialism and exploitation. The Global South not like it. Well, even if there was no slavery, the people in the industrialized nations only have everything they have because of centuries of exploitation. But it's not limited to the previous centuries. The exploitation continues today. Like Nestle actually said, "Oh no, we can't investigate. We wouldn't be able to produce our chocolate if we looked too closely and found out how much slavery was involved in our supply chain." And it's like, oh my God, they just don't want to know. And I was like, God. Somebody replace your phone's screen. Oh look, I'm usually a couple years behind. I don't get the latest model. I'm usually a couple of years behind whatever the model is, and I pass on the older phones to someone. But I don't know, just accept the fact that I'm a lazy shit and I buy products that I know involve exploitation. And absolute hypocrite. Yes, obviously, if the chocolate box has a "we don't use slavery" sticker, but as Kirsten points out, you can buy it. Basically, the big companies are untrustworthy. Timothy, I'm looking fine. You like the white shirt? I was making a video earlier today for my cocktail channel, so I had the white shirt on. My slightly dressy look. Yes. So Invisible Chicken, you read an interesting ethnography about two factories in China. One was in Hong Kong, the other was in, I don't know how to pronounce Guangdong, but bet it's not like that. Really interesting point of view of women who worked for the factories. I bet it was. I read a really interesting story couple of years ago. It was an investigation into just the open slavery in Dubai, like all those, those ridiculous buildings again. The workers are just kept as prisoners. They're theoretically paid, but they're just kept as prisoners. And even, the very open-minded, small little liberal people in Dubai go, well, we're actually helping them. And this English guy, the journo who was investigating it, trying to say to this university professor, what the fuck? These guys are slaves. How are you okay with that? And because if you've been reading it up to this point, you're like, yeah, how are you okay with that? And that guy just said, don't take the high moral ground with me. You have slaves working for you. They're just further away. You're just upset that our slaves are closer. Your slaves are in Southeast Asia, in India, in Bangladesh. But you have them and you profit from them and you just turn the blind eye to it. You're upset because here it's much harder to turn the blind eye because you see where they are and stuff. So fuck you with your high moral ground. You're just as bad. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's true. Timothy, a little off topic. Oh, have I played Detroit Become Human? I was thinking of getting it because it's really cheap now. And I accidentally got 2 copies. Well, I bought a copy of Assassin's Creed for Mrs. Angry, but she already had it. So I'm hoping I can take it back for an exchange. And I noticed they had both Detroit Become Human and The Last of Us, the original Last of Us, the remastered version, for really cheap. Might get them. So I haven't played Detroit Become Human. Locust Trooper. Well, I did say Southeast Asia, man. Yes, China is incredibly exploitative, particularly of the ethnic minorities like the Uyghurs. Oh, that's interesting, Invisible Chicken. The one in Guangdong was paid, which was worse. They'd get pay reduction for being absent for any reason. Peasant girls, though, even were working in extreme pain. We are all the beneficiaries of this horrible exploitation, which is unpleasant to think about. Locust Trooper wants me to be more positive. Make a cocktail. Am I going to make a cocktail? Maybe. Ooh, actually, I always go for what are Diffords saying today? What's their cocktail of the day? Republic Day in Italy. There you go. Negroni for Republic Day. But I fucking hate Campari. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Next week is Negroni week. Yep. So I'm going to make some homegrownies and upload them to YouTube for Negroni week. Anniversary of the Queen's coronation. Oh God, do I want to make a bloody more royal one? Because I made a really good royal cocktail last time I was looking up something about the Queen. Anniversary of Queen's coronation. What do they recommend? A royal mojito. Not that fond of mojitos. It's like rum, lime juice, and sugar syrup. And royal is just topped with champagne. It's in a pineapple mojito. Is rum, and liquor 43, and pineapple juice, and lime juice. See, that sounds pretty good. Oh, do I want to make a tiki drink? I've got all that. I could rum, liquor 43, pineapple juice, lime juice. Sounds pretty good. Oh, Safra, so you sent me that link. We were talking about computer games. EB Games was forced to refund people for Fallout 76 because they were in breach of ACCC rules. They said we don't have to, but they do have to. And Bobo, I did hear rumors about Anonymous saying they had stuff on Epstein and Trump, but I haven't seen anything conclusive yet. Peter, is there a cocktail called the guillotine? I bet there is. I bet there is. If I do a little search, guillotine cocktail. I think it should be a variation on a martini, and we call it a guillotini. It's the last drink the rich get before we drag them into the public square. Oh, Diffords actually have one. Okay, I don't know why I defer to Diffords, because they have a lot of experience. That's why I defer to them. They're saying the guillotine is crème de cassis liqueur, pour William eau de vie, which I think is the predecessor of cognac, and topped with champagne. Yeah, that's someone who's going to the thing. So crème de cassis is, I'm not sure. Blackcurrant. Okay, that's a blackcurrant liqueur. Pour William eau de vie. I think that's a predecessor version of cognac. So, what's this little review? Okay, one of the most delicious and fragrant... It is a brandy. Yeah, there we go. One of the most delicious and fragrant brandies made from Alsatia's abundant supply of fruit is of William Pear, Eau de Vie de Poix Williams. It's made by fermenting crushed ripe fruit for up to 6 weeks, then distilling to a relatively low strength, which preserves its distinctive bouquet. It's comparatively low. It's 40%. That's not comparatively low. Jesus. Okay. So it's a brandy. But it's also boring. Trump a dictator. Trump is a bully and an authoritarian, and it's really starting to come out. And it ain't going to be pleasant for the folks of the USA. So yeah, it's what's happening in the US just sucks so much. Well, this is an interesting one, an orange mojito, saying using an orange-infused vodka, mandarin liqueur, rum, lime juice, sugar syrup. Well, I don't have mandarin, but I do have blood orange liqueur. And I could put some... I'm going to make that. Actually, speaking of which, things I'm getting... Feeling unsealed. Of course I have a terrible French accent. So is there going to be a second civil war in the US? There are a lot of people in the US who actively want that. Who knows? Who knows? It's going to be whatever happens. What happens? There's a thing unprecedented in world history. What happens if a country with nuclear weapons collapses into civil war? That doesn't really bear thinking about, does it? Particularly if you hear a few stories about how bad the security is at nuclear facilities. Short version is fucking bad. It's fucking bad. But yes. Oh, that's where I found some stuff. Looking up Difford's Irish whiskey cocktails. There were some interesting sounding ones in there. Whiskey, sherry, lemon juice, orange sherbet, and stout. Gross. Hate beer cocktails. A Herren cocktail. Irish whiskey, vermouth, chartreuse, bitters, absinthe. A Holy Joe. Irish whiskey, vermouth, apricot brandy, artichoke amaro, like Ginar. I don't have an artichoke amaro. An Irish maid. Irish whiskey, cucumber, elderflower, lemon juice. Gross. Cucumber. I like cucumber. This is where I found the Parlez-vous Irish. Although if I pronounced it right, because my friend Franklin gave me the tutorial on how to say Irish in Irish, it's Guelga. There's a video I made today of the Parlez-vous Quelga. A pickle whack. Whiskey, lemon juice, sugar syrup, and egg white. That's just a whiskey sour. So you whack a pickle in an Irish whiskey sour. Okay, cool. Oh, see, this is my neck of the woods, the Psycho Killer cocktail. Irish whiskey, cocoa nib-infused Campari. Fuck Campari. Creme de banane, creme de cacao, and oh, fuck me. I might make that. Damn. That sounds good. Not with Campari, because I don't have Campari, because I hate Campari. But I've got my Dolan bitter. In a Nick and Nora. Special ingredient number 1. Oh, yeah, no, fuck cocoa nib infused Campari. I'll just put creme. I've got all. Ooh, I'm going to make that one. I'm making that one. Yeah. So this is a stirred cocktail. Okay, I have to get my stirring glass ready. I'm going to make one. Yeah, the locust trooper wants to see me drink. That's okay. Jesus, you've got a good memory, Megaleech. Yes, I can eat cucumber thanks to tapping. I just usually don't. Catherine, you had an Aperol cocktail. Aperol's not that strong. Depends how much you put in, of course. Yes, and Ray, it's weird living with through historical moments. Phil, you're saying you hope the Joint Chiefs turn off Trump's football. There had been a rumor going around for ages that the Joint Chiefs of Staff had made it clear down the chain of command of the nuclear that if you got an order from Trump to launch, you don't do it. You don't do it without ratification from the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is actually sedition. Or mutiny or something. It's against the law. It's, you know, we all hope and pray that other people simply wouldn't act on Trump's orders if he did something that insane. But it's actually against the law to not be that insane. So yeah, there you go. Right. I'm just gonna rinse my mixing glass because I used it at lunchtime. Oh, there we go. Wait, okay. First thing, it's going in a Nick and Nora glass. I'm just gonna put a Nick and Nora glass in the freezer to chill it a bit in the few minutes it takes me to make this. Right. Let's get our game on. Just wander over here to the sink. I won't be far away. And rinse this and rinse that. Rinse the other. And I want the jigger. What's a man without his jigger? Well, he's but half a man. That was a strange thing for me to say, and I don't know why I said it, but I said it. It's too late to take it back. Okay, spoon, filter, some ice for my mixing glass. Okay. Need to get some ice. Put some ice in my mixing glass. That chilled. Right. Great. Okay, so I want Irish whiskey and Dolan, who are a bit more famous for vermouth, but they make this bitter aperitif. What else am I putting in this? It was creme de cacao and creme de banane, wasn't it? And absinthe. So, where's my cremes? There's creme de cacao. No, that's creme de banane. Where's the creme de cacao? That there. Cacao. So absent-minded. Liquor 43. Maraschino. God, I'm suffering bloody temporary blindness. I can't see something that's probably somewhere really obvious. Is it there? No? Where is it? Okay, this is just weird. This is just weird. No, it's there. I knew it was staring me in the face. White creme de cacao. And absinthe. Just dashes of absinthe. Okay. Oh. Okie dokie dokie do. So what was it? 2. Okay, cool. Fiancé, you thought if that rumor about the Joint Chiefs of Staff was true, Trump would do a Kim Jong-il and kill his generals. Trump is a worthless, spineless coward. South Haven Alcohol Museum. It's a fair array. I frequently see it beaten by other people. Where did I put my jigger? There. Okay. Right. Some Jamisons. Big 1 liter bottle from Costco. Yeah. Right. So. 2 ounces of Jamisons. Yes, Sheila, I agree. It's sad the only alternative is Biden, who is a fucking shithouse candidate. Do I think Trump will win the next election? Yes. Yeah, Kirsten has actually shown off a lot of her stuff. Kirsten actually works in the industry, as it were. So Kirsten puts me to shame. Fletcher, 6 drops of Essence of Terror, 5 drops of Sinister Sauce. When the stirring's done, can I lick the spoon? Oops, too much. That sounds familiar. I forget where that's from. Yeah, Megaleech, maybe the Rona will get one of them. Both of them. Who fucking knows? Right. Half shots of the creme de cacao and creme de banane. There we go, half a shot. This is going to be a very interesting desserty drink. Sweet stuff with bitter stuff and whiskey. Something going to bring, if everyone bring booze and have a house party. Things to do. Creme de banane. I probably should get a less shitty creme de banane. This is just like the Voc from Dan Murphy's, but it's hard to get a good banana liqueur, and that's fine. All right, dashes of absinthe. Like, you think, why do I think Trump's going to win? Because that's just the fucking way the world works now. 2 dashes of absinthe. It's just nothing good happens anymore. That's the next part of the rhyme, Fletcher. Better hold your breath. It's starting to tick. Better hold my hand. I'm feeling sick. Shit, what have I done? I'm Milton, your brand new son. Sounds very familiar, and I can't place it. Like, what? You're saying my absinthe is nearly empty? I've had it for, I don't know, way over 6 months. I don't even remember when I bought this. I started writing down earlier this year when I bought stuff, so I'd know, but I got that last year. I don't even remember when I got that. The other one. Oh, this one, the banana one. Yeah, but again, I got this a long time ago too. Probably last year, because I don't think I wrote it down on my list. Creme de banane. This is just a fruity mixer. Milton the Monster. Yeah, well, Safa, I felt like I needed a ledger. I needed to be conscious of, how long it took me to drink booze, and the only thing I've finished since I started keeping track was a bottle of vermouth. That lasted about 2 months. I don't feel bad about it. That tastes good. Get my glass. My chilled Nick and Nora glass. Broke one of these in a live stream once. I was quite upset by that because I lifted a matching set from a venue that shall not be named. So Mrs. Angry and I could have drinks out of matching glasses. I bought a replacement from the bitters. That's a pretty good wash line. Volume-wise, just about perfect for that glass. It's a really nice color too. Oh, there comes the whiskey. There comes the whiskey. Kirsten, you have a spreadsheet too. There you go. Oh, wow. It tastes sweet at first, and then the whiskey comes at you in the end. Can I get a tax return on booze in Australia? If I was making money from it, maybe. I don't know. I've got a very clever accountant. If I ever start making money from my YouTube cocktail channel, I will ask if I can call the booze an expense. Feelings here. Heard about Australia and New Zealand negotiating shared bubble? Yes. What? Israel said they wanted in. That's like fucking stupid. Israel, I guess, yeah, being a fucking police state, they virtually do have a closed border. Now I feel compelled to look up the bloody Johns Hopkins COVID thing. Israel is one place I hadn't been looking at. So, yeah, fun and games. The US now has more than 1,000 times the deaths that Australia has. 10 to 15 times our population, 1,000 times the deaths, and the death rate there is accelerating. So let me, go down this list, find Israel. That's Ireland. Saw an I. There it is. Okay, 17,000 cases in Israel, 287 deaths. So that's a really low death rate if they're reporting accurately. Where are we again? We've got 7,000 cases and 100 deaths. And Israel has 17,000 and just under 300 deaths. So a slightly higher death rate than us. But I also think they've got it down to probably completely under control. What's their map look like? Newly reported cases. They went from 16,800, 100. They're getting about 100 new cases a day. Don't think we're going to be really rushing to have transit with a country that's still getting 100 new cases a day. And yeah, it doesn't make an enormous amount of sense to me because they're so far away as well. No, just, He's making fun of DVDs. Catherine, you're doing a spreadsheet of DVDs. Netflix shows have been one to watch. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I tried to give away a bunch of kids' DVDs at the start of lockdown. I thought someone might want them. Ones that my kids have outgrown, and they're aimed at pre-teens, basically. And there's a big pile of them, and I posted it on social media, and I was basically free to a good home, you know. If you don't have streaming services and you're trying to keep kids happy, this might help. No one wanted them. Someone wanted the Lego, the big box of random Lego. And one of my friends with 2 young kids grabbed a hold of that, but no one wanted DVDs. So yeah. Locust Trooper, true. Taiwan's doing well. Vietnam hasn't had any deaths. They've done astonishingly well. I think it's only going to happen with New Zealand because, you know, they're right next to us, short flights and all that sort of thing. Yes, and I think you're right. It's because the streaming services are too easy to access. So no one wanted the DVDs. So there you go. Oh, Jesus. Brian, YouTube's been recommending videos about the Kent State shootings. Yes, the National Guard opened fire on protesters at Kent State University. It was pretty horrific. Yeah, and I think some people are sort of counting down to that happening again. Fiancilli, you were spring cleaning, you thought about chucking the DVD player, kept it. Well, we play DVDs and Blu-rays on the PS4 at the moment. That's our disc player now. Don't use it that often to play movies. Do sometimes. Because I actually have a fuck ton of discs. And actually, a bunch of them I've never watched because I just have this weird thing when I see a sale and I just see, hey, that's some good stuff and I haven't watched that and I might want to watch it and it's really cheap, I'm buying it. And so I've got dozens of discs that I haven't watched. And I haven't been watching them this lockdown either. I've just been watching the streaming services. So for sad news, New Zealand's closer to Perth. Oh, Kirsten, you're a West Australian. Home visits are a real hassle. Well, that's depressing, Fletcher. Saying 5 people dead in Ohio. What? Oh, God, now I'm compelled to look at the news and see if there's anything saying that. Oh, God, I love this headline from The Guardian. With Trump, we've reached the mad emperor stage, and it's terrifying to behold. I don't think there are a bunch of people dead if you're talking about in the riots, because I'm pretty sure that it would have popped up straight away in the news. So yeah, it's all very disturbing. Oh yeah, Catherine, you use the Xbox to watch DVDs. Oh, Fletcher, you're just referencing a song. Sorry. Doing it when will the US be normal? I agree with Mega Leech, not while Trump's there. Locust Trip, you think Trump's suited to the Roman Empire? He is Caligula or a Nero, basically. Someone near the decadent end of the Roman Empire. Oh, God, we got back into the depressing stuff. We steered off the depressing stuff. I'm going to steer back to what have I started watching now that we got on talking about discs? Oh, there's a really cute rom-com on Netflix. It's called Lovebirds. It's called Lovebirds, I think. Netflix Lovebirds. Yes, it's called Lovebirds. It's really cute. Okay, it's only got like a 2/3 positive rating on the various meta sites. I thought it was really cute. I always get his name wrong. I think Kamal Nanjiani and Issa Rae as a couple. It's very light. It's very light, but I thought it was really cute. And I also watched the Chris Hemsworth action movie they've got, Extraction, which, while entertaining, is literally just every cliche for the action movie stuff just piled on one after the other. Like really, really super fucking obvious development in it. I watched the first episode of the new comedy series Space Force. I think it's got potential, mostly because of John Malkovich, but I've only watched the first episode. We'll see. I watched the first episode of a series on Prime called Upload. I think it has potential. It's like an afterlife type thing where your consciousness is uploaded into a virtual reality. Fletcher, you thought Extraction was boring. I thought it was. I thought it was every cliche in the book. Yes, Space Force is live now, Catherine. Oh, Alfila and Sealer, that's old school. The Wedding Singer, the old Adam Sandler movie. It's. I always found it weird with Adam Sandler. He used to do like every second movie for no apparent reason. He would do a stupid voice. The Water Boy and Little Nicky and those things, and it's just fucking strange. And I don't hate Adam Sandler, but that doing the stupid voice thing every second movie, I've always found really weird. And I've heard lots of people like Jane the Virgin. I haven't watched it. There's too many things on TV to watch, but yeah, a lot of people like Jane the Virgin. Feelings here. I was thinking of rewatching Black Mirror, actually. As I say, it's a bit more like a docudrama. Well, because what Charlie Brooker tried to do with it was, while creating sort of somewhat fantastical sci-fi, it was let's look at technology and social issues today and speculate on some possible paths it might take. So it was always meant to feel a bit real, even when it was quite fantastical. Quite like Black Mirror. I might rewatch it at some point. But I got back into. I had been watching a bunch of shows that had been out for a while that I never watched, and I stopped watching them and I started again. Just things like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Schitt's Creek, and they're both half-hour comedies, and then 1 hour dramas like Peaky Blinders and Ozark. I quite like them. Like I missed them. Like I just over the weekend I watched a bit of all of them and went, "Oh, that's right. I like these shows. I missed them. I never finished watching them." So I've been getting back into watching them. Megalich, Jim Carrey versus Adam Sandler. Broadly, Jim Carrey might have more depth than Adam Sandler, but Adam Sandler's high points are higher than Jim Carrey's high points. But yeah, Kirsten, Black Mirror gives you anxiety. I can understand that. You watched The Great. I don't know that one, actually. Yep, Safi, you're right. Netflix loves Adam Sandler. They signed him for a multi-movie deal, and they got some stupid ones. Then they got that really gritty one, Uncut Gems, which was okay. A few people raved about it. It's like every now and then, like once a decade, Adam Sandler does like a serious, even arty film, like Punch Drunk Love, which was good. And Uncut Gems, yeah, it was good, but his character was so unlikable. I was just like, dude, I don't give a shit what happens to this guy. He's fucking awful. which is always a risk. If you make a character unlikable, no one cares what happens to them. Is Adam Sandler the same character, same person? I don't think so. I just think a lot of his characters aren't very good. Like, okay, here's an unpopular opinion because I think a lot of people don't like it. I quite liked the movie where he was the lead, and it was about being a stand-up comedian. It was just called Funny People or something. And I quite like that. And I think that's a reasonably unpopular opinion. Like Seth Rogen's in that movie, and I think Jonah Hill is as well. That one, that historical drama about Catherine the Great. Is that the one with Helen Mirren in it? Because I saw that advertised and I thought, oh, I want to watch that, and I haven't watched it. So you like Good Time? Don't think I'm very familiar of that. Yeah, Safa, he's got his own production company, Happy Madison, named after his first two hit movies, Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison. God, I saw Billy Madison was on the other day, and I watched a bit of it, and it was fucking terrible. It was really... This is one of the ones where he does a stupid voice. Yes, Felix Sandler and Punch Drunk Love. That was one of his high points, definitely. Oh, yeah, Helen Mirren is an absolute yes, I would. Absolutely. I mean, you know, she wouldn't have anything to do with common filth like me, but, you know, if she wanted to slum it, get a bit of rough trade, I'd be up for it. Fuck, that was a good drink. I love the Difford site. I get such good drinks off the Difford site. And what's that one called? Psycho Killer. That was good. That was very good. I like it. It was nice to just have a cocktail. The temptation is now to have another one. I'm not going to. Temptation, but I'm not going to. So yeah, let's think. What other entertain? I keep getting the vibe. I want to rewatch one or two recent classics. Like I haven't watched Mad Max Fury Road in a little while, and I feel like I think I want to watch that again. Got that on Blu-ray. I got the limited edition. I got the black and chrome version, which is high definition. High contrast black and white cut of the film, which, considering all the color and stuff in Fury Road, it doesn't seem like that would work, but it really does. Look, it's true. You liked American Psycho. It's better than the book. And Christian Bale was good in it. Yeah, it's not a particular favorite of mine, American Psycho. Well, I kind of like Christian Bale. He's all that flawed. Fletcher, are you watching The 100? My offspring watched the first season of The 100. I haven't seen that for years, though. I feel you like Nicholas Hoult in Fury Road. He was everyone was very good in Fury Road. Oh, what a day. What a lovely day. Yes, I got to watch Zombieland Double Tap. That's on the streaming services now. Been waiting for that. I might watch that this weekend. I almost watched it last weekend, but I watched some other stuff. But yeah, I think I'm definitely going to watch Zombieland Double Tap this weekend, because the original Zombieland was dumb but heaps of fun. Like, it knew it was dumb. That's where they get away with it. When a dumb movie knows it's dumb and doesn't apologize for it, that works. Oh, Catherine, there's no such thing as binging shows wrong. You watch them in your own pace. What's the other thing I'm watching? Oh, yeah, like the new Rick and Morty's coming out once a week. So I've been watching those. And young Mr. Angry's into Rick and Morty, so we watch those together. I've been just toying with, there's a really psychedelic animation on Netflix by the people who made Adventure Time. It's called, oh God, now I've gone blank, but the guy's like a podcaster in an alternate reality. And it's very surreal and psychedelic, and it's kind of like a wallpaper thing. I'm not really into it. The characters in it talk philosophy while really weird things happen. Kirsten, you and your husband are watching Escape to the Country. It's a soothing TV because you're both nervous for exile. Just soothing TV. So good. You know what? Cooking channels, cooking shows. Cooking shows are the best because they're soothing. You don't have to be completely immersed in them to get what's going on. You can focus on them when you feel like focusing, and you can just let them go when they're going. And I mean like really good ones, like, Great English Bake Off or something. But there's like, I've got Foxtel, there's a couple cooking channels on. Just having the cooking channel on is sometimes like a relaxation visual and oral wallpaper. All wallpaper's visual, moving wallpaper. And why don't I do movie reviews, Locust Trooper? I like doing it in conversations like this. I don't want to do it as movies. Yeah, I like the Two Fat Ladies stuff, Fletcher, and the hairy bikers, and Nigella or Poe. I can, Jamie Oliver's fine. I know Jamie Oliver drives some people up the wall. If I analyze Jamie Oliver, he'd drive me up the wall. But it's just like, it's just on. Maggie Beer. Mrs. Angry and I really laugh at. There's this show Maggie Beer has with this guy. The show's called The Cook and the Chef, and Maggie Beer is the cook because she's never been it professionally. She's been like a celebrity cook, and the chef is this dude from a high-end restaurant, and it's hilarious. He clearly thinks he's better than Maggie Beer, but no one knows who he is, and everyone loves Maggie Beer. And so there's always this tension going on, which we find hilarious. Yes, Invisible Chicken. There's a horror-themed dessert show on Netflix, and it looks kind of good. It premiered like a year or so ago. I've never watched it, but it looks really interesting. Oh, Kirsten, you like cooking and Reno shows. I don't really watch Reno shows. Sometimes lifestyle stuff if it's on, but I prefer to narrow in on cooking than the broader lifestyle stuff. Yeah, just aimless fun. I mean, honestly, I do stuff like, because I got Foxtel and they got a dozen movie channels. If I just need a break for stuff, I'll just go like flick through, like, because I can get them all on demand and watch them from start. But I honestly just go, what's on right now? And I flick through like, okay, I'm going to let this just. Sometimes it's something I really want to watch. Other times it's just like, cool, this is halfway through. I'm just going to have this on while I have my lunch, or while I just zone out for a while I work on my computer. So don't Fletch. Don't bring up Pete Evans. Do not bring up Pete fucked in the head Evans. Fletcher, Nigella does put her boobs in everything. It's one of the reasons I like her. So, yeah. Felix said they all became amazing cooks during lockdown in New Zealand. But as soon as fast foods reopened, cancelled that shit like Bill Cosby. Suffer, free to air than ABC and SBS is mostly garbage. Yeah, I have, apart from the ABC and SBS, which I honestly don't watch that much of either of them. I watch a bit. But it sounds like I'm being a wanker, but it's a simple truth. I haven't watched one of the commercial free-to-air channels, I don't know, in years. I literally don't know when the last time I watched something on one of them. Don't even watch that much ABC or SBS, but I watch some. Yeah. I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. A lot of cocktail channels on YouTube, trying to network with them, trying to find ideas. The main things I watch on YouTube are cocktail channels, movie trailers, and what else? Random funny stuff. And some of the things I've been subscribed to for a long time. Like a stripper, do you think I should binge watch the complete run of The Apprentice because I love it? Yes, that seems like a particularly horrible torture. If I ever feel like I've been really bad and need to be punished, yeah, maybe binge watch The Apprentice, because that truly sounds horrific. That is all kinds of not good. Oh yeah, Invisible Chicken. I like Sean McAuliffe and Charlie Pickering shows. Charlie Pickering a bit more. Kind of like I don't watch them religiously, but if I remember to, I watch them. I immediately reckon you haven't watched Free to Air for 15 years. That's fine. Ooh, Safa Fury Road, $17 for 4K. See, I don't have a 4K TV. I just have big on flat screen. So I do have the Blu-ray though. It is a beautiful looking movie. It is a very beautiful movie, and so well shot, so well constructed. And someone has changed your Disney Plus to French. You know what my kids used to do, like particularly Pixar DVDs, Pixar discs. Disney and Pixar have every friggin' language imaginable, both in subtitles and audio. And my kids, when they were little, and they go, "Oh, look, the remote does things," and they're just messing with it. And then I'd come in, and they changed the menus to fuck knows what language, and then I have to try and, because I didn't remember where the commands were, I was trying to work out, oh, holy shit, what do these commands on the menu mean now? I don't even recognize what this language is. Like they've switched it to Estonian or something. And I'm just, oh my God, how the fuck do I get it back to English? Because the kids here, they just randomly push buttons and weird shit would happen. Musical Aviator, that's old school cooking. Peter, g'day. Russell, g'day. Clark, come and get it. Lucas Tripper, you always want to ask questions. You're half philo over philo mum. I dated philo before. Jake's crazy. Oh, dude. It would be rude to speak ill of my ex and the mother of my children, but there are certain sensibilities with Filipinos that get pretty interesting, quite honestly. Interesting times if you're in a Filipino family or part Filipino family. And yes, I'll just leave it as it would be very rude for me to speak ill of my ex and the mother of my children, but it's certainly interesting times. So I empathize with you, my friend. I really do. I can imagine the sort of things you're referring to it. I can really imagine the sort of things you're referring to. But yeah, good times and bad times. You know how it goes. And you don't want to dwell on the bad times because that sort of shit drives you crazy. So yeah, it is what it is, and it's the past now, so I don't have to worry about it too much. So yes, I try not to be too acrimonious about things that may have happened in the past, because it doesn't help. It doesn't help, and I'm not particularly traumatized. Like me saying that is not saying that people who had really traumatic upbringing should just forget about it, or people who've gone through traumatic experience should just forget about it. I'm saying it wasn't that bad for me. So Yes, this is me trying to be philosophical, I guess, and yeah, just try not to be bitter because it it just doesn't help. It doesn't improve the situation, and so just move out. Like, sure, just come out with it. Say she was crazy. No, she wasn't. I mean, crazy shit happened. There is no two ways about it. And I mean, she actually, up to primary school age, grew up in the Philippines and then moved to Australia. When I met her, she'd been in Australia for 10 plus years. So, she was Aussie as in the western suburbs of Melbourne. But she actually grew up in the Philippines, and that's pretty rough and that's pretty wild. And yeah, some of the stories from there, which is another reason I try hard not to be too judgmental about anything that happened that I was not particularly happy with, because she'd been through a lot of shit. So, like, fucking orders of magnitude worse than anything I ever had to put up with growing up. So, yeah, like a strip of St. Albans, mate. St. Albans. It's where all the Filipinos live in Melbourne. The fucking Sunshine and St. Albans and the West generally is where it's not all the Filipinos, but a lot of the Filipinos in Melbourne live in the West, where the fiesta was. And I went to Filipino fiesta once or twice. Not anymore, because the only other white guys who were there I couldn't help feeling like they were creepy old white guys whose wife appeared to be 30 years younger than them, and I was only like 30 at the time, and like I say, the only other white guys I'm seeing seem to be about 60, and the women they're with seem to be about the same age as the woman I'm with, and I'm like, what? This is creepy, because I'm like, okay, this is for real. I have slight trepidation of going to something like Filipino fiesta with my daughter, in case people think I'm married to her, because that's the sort of age difference with white guys and their Asian wives. Yeah, so for George Christensen, yeah. But yeah, and obviously, yeah, it was just very weird to see some things and go, ooh, do I come across like that? I'm just like, what? No, I hope I don't come across like that, because I don't think I'm like that. But Jesus, is that how other people are seeing? Maybe this beard is really annoying me. It curls off to the side. I can just cut it really fucking short like I used to. Just cut all that off. So it's just my chin line. I'm gonna lazy and let it grow. I'm so bad at trimming it though. It annoys me. It curls. It goes off to the side. So I'm gonna do this. You know, no, go straight. Go straight, fuck yeah. Maybe I should use gel, beard oil or something. I don't know. I'm just too lazy. I'm too lazy to do proper grooming. You can tell by my hair. Look at that. What's going on there? That's a. So if you think it's the way I sleep, no, it curls. It curls. I do sleep on my side, but it just curls. I think I used to have it really short, just following the jawline. Yeah, maybe I should do that again. Be less hassle. I just have to remember to trim it all the time. Guess yes. Over the years, as beards became more common, I let it grow longer, and now it's kind of, but to get rid of it. Let's see, you had a girlfriend from Albania in the late 90s, came over during the shitty Kosovo war. Oh yeah, no, someone who's been through trauma is a bit of a worry. Kirsten, I feel like there's a second meaning in what you're saying. You can't make things straight if they're not. Like, Strippy, you're dating a Chinese woman now. Grey hair at 33. Oh no! I think I had my first grey hair at 27, but they didn't really get noticeable until 30s. But I've always dyed my hair. You can tell, like, my hair's dyed now. It's not really showing up, but I actually dyed it with a purple. First time I'd done that in a while. But because I dyed it all the time, like from my 20s, my natural hair color is dark. It's like dark brown. But I got into the habit of dyeing it like a blue black in my 20s, just like super dark. And to the extent that my mum thought that was my natural hair color. But it wasn't, because I just dyed it for ages. And I tend not to do that anymore because I think it looks a bit silly. I'm dyeing it, it's normally brown. But I got bored a couple of weeks ago and dyed it purple, which mostly looks dark, but if I'm in bright light, you can see the purple highlights, aka my grey hairs that are purple. Oh God, Lucas, she lives with you. You're all stressed, buddy. You got to chill. Kirsten, yes, your natural hair color is pink. That makes sense. How long does it take to dye hair? Depends what you're using. If it's any sort of decent semi-permanent dye, you usually have to leave it in your hair for somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. Stuff I use, I tend to leave in for about half an hour and then wash out. And you can tell how the beard hair grows much faster than head hair, all the grey coming in my beard, and I'm too lazy to do it. Is purple a progressive color? I'm not sure what that even means. I just did it for a laugh because it's obviously fake, as opposed to, like trying to dye it black or brown and convince people it's natural. But with the purple in, it's obviously fake. So I don't. They call it rosewood or something. They don't actually call it purple. They call it rosewood or something, but it's got real purple. It's like brown with purple tones in it. Fiancilla, haven't cut your hair since February. Now you look like comic book guy from The Simpsons. Oh no! Oh no! Yeah, actually, I had haircuts a couple of weeks ago, a month ago. I'm seriously, like, it's a running joke that time doesn't mean anything. I don't know how long ago I got my hair cut. It was somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks ago. Closer to 4, I think. Like, I lost track of how long have I been working from home? 3 months? 3 months? Something like that. When did all the shutdown happen? Fuck if I know. Oh, yeah, because you have really long hair. So it takes you 3 hours. I got really short hair, so it takes me 30 minutes. Sulfur is a progressive left color. I wasn't aware of hair color having political alignments. Visible chicken, you had green in your hair once with a washout, but it lasted months. March. Okay, March the 20th is when everything locked down. So we're in March, April, May. That's only 2 months. 2.5 months. All right. See? No sense of time. So, okay, the bar's closed March the 20th. So I was predicting at the time we'd be lucky if they opened inside of 6 months. So and it looks like they're going to be open to some extent in 3 months. So I was a bit too negative. 6 months, if we don't have any sort of rising cases, which is an unfortunate possibility, but if we keep everything under control, if there's not a lot of community transmission in the next couple months, stuff might be something approaching normal at the 6 month mark. Because each 3-4 weeks, they're going to revisit what level of restrictions in place. And because you need about 3 weeks to see what effect the last change had. So each 3 or 4 weeks, there's going to be a revision to what level of lockdown we have. And all goes well, it's going to keep you in. Locust Trooper, you're going to be 34 on the 22nd, 22th. Happy birthday, buddy. What's that? That's still 3 weeks away. So you can have something approaching a birthday party. Mine was in April when everything was shut. We had 3 birthdays in just that 2-month lockdown period. 3 birthdays in this house. Young is angry. She's lucky. Hers is until November. Stuff's going to be relative, barring very unfortunate, unpleasant outcomes. Stuff's going to be relatively normal in November. So, you know, she is unlikely to have significant restrictions for her birthday. Yes, music over USA is not normal. Because you're saying barbers are long queues. I was the only. Well, I went into a local barber. There was one guy getting the haircut. And he was the only one I had to wait for. And then when I was sitting in the chair, one other guy came in, so it wasn't crewed. Might be on the weekends. I actually, because I'm working from home, I just fucking pissed off at lunch. Before lunch. I didn't want to go at lunchtime. So I took an early lunch and went out and got my hair cut. Like a trooper. My kids look at you? They don't really look like an Islander. They've got my pale complexion, although they've probably got their mum's hidden melanin. Like if they spend a lot of time in the sun, they'd probably get much darker. And they have, you know, obvious Asian heritage with their eyes and whatnot, but they got my really pale complexion and getting freckles from the sun. So they have me to thank for being so bloody pale. But my son's fucking 6 foot. Like I'm 5'8", and he's 5'11", 6 foot. My daughter's shorter, but she's taller than a mum. She's taller than everyone in a mum's family, but she's shorter than me. But my son is like 6 foot. So, Jesus, he got some hidden height genetics from somewhere because his mum's family are all short asses. And for Caucasians, my family are all short asses. But he's fucking 6 foot. So, yeah. But genetics, what the fuck's going on there? I don't know. Keep telling them they should go to the Philippines, learn Tagalog. They'd be huge celebrities, sort of comparatively tall and good looking, and unfortunately the paler complexion is somewhat sought after. They could go to the Philippines and be celebrities, and they just look at me and go, "What's wrong with you?" I don't know, just throwing suggestions out there. Safa is 6 foot tall when you're a 5'8" short ass 6 foot tall. There you go, Felix. Yeah, Pinos love basketball. He could do that. Yes, Kirsten, the genetic soup is a weird thing. And I suppose, it's if you get the right nutrition, each generation seems to be somewhat taller than the previous generation. Oh, there you go. You reckon there's a lot of the half kids are tall. You're tall as well. There you go. It can be that. Yeah, 5'11". Yeah, my lad's like 5'11", 6 foot. I haven't measured him for a little long. He's probably stopped growing now. He's like this much taller than me. It's a bit worrying. Lucky he's the good boy. Well, he's an adult now. So, but yeah, I've never had trouble with him. So, my kids are so much better behaved than I was. Oh my God, I was such a shit. I wasn't really, but I just look back in retrospect sometimes and go, oh, yeah, I was fucking shit. I was a shit. Not compared to some people, but I do look back on some of my behavior and go, oh, that's not. Is he 180 centimeters? I don't know. The weirdest thing is I'm like weight, I will go kilograms and stuff. I don't know anything about pounds and whatnot. But height, for some reason, I'm really bad at feet. Okay. 6 feet is Yeah, 182 centimeters. So he's probably about the same height as you. Somewhere around 180 centimeters is about his height, definitely. I haven't actually like stood him up against the wall and measured it or anything, but yes. It's weird. Kirsten went to see a friend in Taiwan, 6'6". You could see him from across a huge city train. Yeah, I bet you could, because the average height's only about 5'6". There was a music video, and it's from ages ago, like more than 10 years ago. I forget, it was like Paul Mac or someone, an Australian DJ who's about 6'6", and I think he did actually have a gig DJing in nightclubs in Thailand, and they shot this whole video where he's just like walking through markets and stuff, and he's like a full foot taller than anyone else around. And also because he's blonde and white, he just stands and just people are following him around, and everyone in the market's just staring at him like, oh my God, what the fuck? He is such an oddity. Yeah, there you go. You were really tall there. You're 5'7". Yeah. I'm 173 centimeters. Am I? Again, I haven't measured myself recently. So photo is what inches less than that? It's like 68 inches. Yeah, 172 centimeters, 173 centimeters, something like that. That's about my height. Yeah, the other thing that will get you a lot of attention in Southeast Asian nations, besides being a white Caucasian, is if you're blonde and blue-eyed. People will just stare at you if you're blonde and blue-eyed. A lot of my friends who've traveled tell me that. And yeah, particularly like with kids or babies, blonde, blue-eyed kids or babies, just everyone wants to touch them. Everyone is wild. Anywho, it's 10 o'clock. And on that relatively wholesome note, going to go to bed. Bid you fine people farewell. I hope you look after yourselves. I hope you have a good day. I'll almost certainly be back tomorrow. Hey, if AIDzee zonked himself out on a sleeping pill, which is maybe what happened today, he might be in a good state tomorrow. We might see him tomorrow. Then again, we might not. Who actually knows? It's one of life's great mysteries. But I want you all to look after yourselves. Stay well. Hope to see you again soon. I'm going to go to bed, and I will say bye for now.